Good evening. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Creations by Julie. I am Julie. Ed is behind the camera tonight. You're going to hear my voice again in a second. The camera tonight. I guess we're on. Let me pull up my page. Notice I already have my sound down. Okay, let me just get it on here where I can see. Ed will try to catch your comments tonight. Good evening, ladies. Well, it was down. It wasn't off. I'm right. You're wrong.
Marie says hello.
Hi, Maria. Thank you very much for being here tonight. It's Thursday, and y'all, we've had some cool weather this week, which really has been nice. Today it got back up in the 80s, but Ed's standing over here with a jacket with a hoodie on. I've got the fan going, so who knows what the temperature is, but the air has not kicked on in... Hi, Ann. 3 or 4 days, I think. Now, we got down to like 48 or so yesterday morning, but a lot of people I know had snow, and I'm so jealous. Okay, so tonight is Thursday. We're going to do something a little bit different, but we're still going to be working with napkins. We're going to do one project. We're going to do 2 projects, but one of them they call the reverse decoupaging, and I'm going to show you. The things I'm going to show you for the next several weeks are things that you could use for decor for your home, or you could make really inexpensive Christmas gifts doing these methods. But before we do that, I had asked, several of you had said yes, that you would be interested if I put together some kits to where you get everything you need to make a wreath. Y'all, I have tons and tons of signs and ribbon and all that good stuff. So this afternoon I did put together 3 kits, and I'm just going to show you the signs that are coming in the kits. And it has coordinating ribbon, mesh, I give you zip ties, I give you the little sticky things to go on the back of the signs or however you want to attach them. You get the wreath form and plenty of ribbons if you want to put your sign off to the side and do a big bow. You've got enough ribbon for that. I took it all off and rolled it up, so you're not getting a full roll of ribbon. I think let me look, you're getting like 7 yards of 2 different type of ribbons to use for your tails. Now that's 18 of them. But if you put the sign in one sign and a big bow, there's at least 3 that you're not going to use, so you'll have plenty of ribbon. Then I gave you extra, like 2 yards of 6, sometimes 7 different ribbons to make a bow.
Thank you, Miss Ann, for the sprinkle.
Thank you, Ann. Appreciate it. But anyway, I didn't bring everything in here, but I wanted to show you the main feature of the wreaths. This is one sign. Now he already has one hook back here, and you'll either need to use a sticky or drill a little bitty hole. I didn't want to go ahead and drill the hole because you might have another way you want to use him. But this is one sign. And I'll tell you the mesh that I put with this is the brown with the edges on the trim on the edges is this cheetah print, leopard print, whatever it is. But that's one. So there's a kit. And I'll be putting them on my website the next day or two as soon as I can get pictures. This is one. And it's going to be very colorful, all the different colors. And then this is one. So this one's going to be full of sparkle. But keep an eye out on my website, and I'll only have one of each thing. Hey, Sandy, thank you for being here. So let's see. I'm not even sure where to start tonight. I told Ed this is going to be a confusing one because what we're going to do, one of the projects, well, they're both done pretty much in several layers, but one of them has a lot of layers, and you have to let it dry in between, and but we're going to do 2 different things tonight. So I wanted, first thing we're going to do is a plate. And y'all know I always try to do something ahead of time before I try to show you. And this is one reason why. I had this napkin. Where's the napkin? This pretty napkin that says thankful with a wreath. And I wanted to put it on a clear plate. Well, I did it, and it's beautiful. But you have to hold it at a certain angle to be able to read the word thankful, because the thankful word is in gold. Now, if you were very steady-handed, you could go over this gold like with a black mark, Sharpie or something, but I'm too unsteady, and I didn't realize until I put the final coat on here that you really couldn't see the word thankful. But it made a very pretty plate anyway. So what I did is I just found another napkin that had bright colors. So we're actually going to use this one. We're going to use this one on our second project, but not on the plate. We're going to use this one. So what you need to do is start with a clear. This is probably a 7-inch plate, but now it came from the Dollar Tree. I don't want to touch the center of this one, but like this. They only have 2 sizes. They have this size, and then they have a large dinner plate. But the first thing you want to do is wash your plate really well, dry it, and then take you some alcohol. Before we do anything else to it, you want to just rub alcohol on it and clean it really good, and I've already done that. So the next thing we're going to do is prepare our napkin. Now this one only has this one piece to it. It just says thankful with the wreath. That's not the napkin I'm going to use. I almost goofed. I'm using the wreath. That one's coming. This one has 2 actually. Okay, so the first thing, you may have 2 layers, you may have 3 layers. The easiest thing, every now and then I can just like take my fingers and lick them and get it to come apart. But the quickest thing has always been a little bit of painter's tape on the corner, and then just pull. See, that got that first layer. Let's see if I can get the second layer. I'm pretty sure you want to get down to that very last layer, and it's going to be pretty thin. Most of the napkins it is. Pretty thin. All right. So you just gently pull off the 2 layers. Most of your napkins tell you whether they're 2 layers or 3 layers. But you never know. While I'm doing this, y'all need to tell Ed happy birthday. Today is his birthday. And no, I didn't bake him a cake. I did make him a chocolate pie, though, that we're going to eat after the live. But, yeah, he turns, how old are you, Ed?
74.
See, he'll tell you. He's 74 today. All right, so you can see it's a very fragile piece. I'm going to kind of figure out, I'm not going to get this. I want this wreath right in the center of my plate. So you can take a brush.
Thank you, Miss Sam.
Just a little brush, put it in water and put water around it and tear. But you don't want to cut the napkin. You want to tear it because that lets it blend in with everything else. So
thank you, Miss Phillips.
I'm using
This is the most happy birthdays I got.
Yeah.
Except for my daughter.
I told you happy birthday.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, and you're not on Facebook. If you were on Facebook, you'd have got a lot of happy birthdays.
Well,
but you're not on Facebook.
No, I'd use yours.
You stalk my page. This is a water pen. It has water in this end, and it's got a little brush on the end of it. So I'm just going to go fairly close to my wreath because it's large enough that it actually it's taken up most of the plate. And then when it's wet, you just tear it. And it just gives a real feathered edge to your napkin. So I'm just going to get it wet and then just tear it loose from my napkin. And I'm just going to go all the way around. I love the water pen. It just makes it so much faster. And you just squeeze it a little bit and that water comes out. And this doesn't have to be perfectly round like a circle. Your wreath is going to be what you see. And I chose this napkin because it's got those bright colors. And I think it'll show really nice where that gold didn't show. Now I'm going to use the plate that says thankful, but you could make this as a gift and give it to them with a small easel, or you could do like 6 for your table setting with these little plates, because nothing is going to go on the top to where you're going to put food. So you could use it for a salad plate, a dessert plate, or you could just put it out and put some cookies on it, because nothing is going to be on the top of the plate. Okay. Let me get a little bit more here. Since this wreath is so big, I'm going to try to get as close to it as I can in some spots. And that's just going to help it blend on the plate really nice. So I'm going to set it right there. Maybe right there. Put my water pen on it so it doesn't blow away. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take our plate, turn it over, because you're working on the bottom part of the plate. And I am using glitter glue. You can buy this anywhere that has regular glue. It's just called water-based sealer glue and finish extreme glitter. And I'm going to put it right there in the center of this plate. This is what we're going to have to do in steps to kind of let things dry. You don't want gobs and gobs and gobs, but you want enough. But this has glitter mixed in with it, and it really turns out pretty on these plates, especially for the holidays. And right now I'm just putting it all the way around the edge so that it will catch my edges when I lay my napkin on there. Okay, you're going to take your napkin, and this is the good side. You're not going to put it down like this. You're going to turn it over. And I'm going to try to get it in the center, because you can't pick it up and move it. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to kind of pat it. And I'm going to take a piece of plastic wrap, saran wrap, or whatever. This is the stuff I hate. This is not parchment paper. I have seen people put their hand in like a baggie, and I may try that because I hate this stuff. I do not use it in my kitchen because of that.
I do.
Yeah, you have used it before. But I'm going to take the paper, and I hope I didn't wait too late. I'm going to put it over it, and then I'm going to rub. And it looks like I might have let it dry too much and took too long. Should have had my parchment paper out. Not my parchment paper. My
Cling wrap.
Yeah, cling wrap out before I laid the napkin down. I think there's going to be a couple of little wrinkles right in the center of that. But you don't want to, you want something between the napkin and your hands, because this gets, the Mod Podge soaks through and it gets to where you'll tear that. But I'm just going to push that down like that. And then I'm going to gently raise it up, throw this away, won't be needing it again. All right, so of course you're going to see the glitter behind, the white behind it, but can you see that? I did a pretty good job of getting it in the center. I could just see a couple of wrinkles right here, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just kind of go around the edges for a second, and then we're going to set it aside and let it dry. Then we'll do the next step.
You haven't showed this plate yet.
No.
And Travis says pretty.
I think this will be pretty with that bright green and red. All right, so we're going to set this aside for now. We'll come back and have to give it another layer of glitter in a minute. But right now, I'm going to put it on something and set it here off to the side. Okay. So while that's drying, let's work on the second project. And for this one, let me find what I'm going to use. You can buy these old hymnals on eBay and Etsy.
And Travis wants to know if it's where you can wash it.
Not in the dishwasher. You will be able to just like wipe it out, not put the whole thing. I am using a dishwasher safe Mod Podge to seal it. But I don't think I would put it in a pan of water, immerse the whole thing. I would just clean the front of the plate. There's not going to be anything on the front. Okay, now if you don't like the thought of tearing up a hymnal, you can just pick out the song you want and put it on your copier. That's what I did. This was one that I was just playing with, and I actually tried to write the faithful. Of course, my F got crazy, but you can see how it'll kind of blend on your song. But I wanted Count Your Blessings, so I just printed off several copies of Count Your Blessings because there's so many different ways you can use it. But we're actually going to take this napkin and put on top of this and blend it in. And then I'm going to put Mod Podge on it, and we'll have to let it dry. But to answer your question, it's kind of yes and no. You can wash it, but I wouldn't put them down in a pan of water to where water gets on the back. I think it probably would be okay. You'll see how many layers we have on there. But you definitely can eat out of it or put cookies or pie or anything on it because you're not putting anything on the front of the plate. So you could use it as just decor, or you could set your table setting with it. And salad or pie or desserts would be pretty easy just to wash the plate. Okay, I'm going to try to get this one off. This is the napkin that only has one. Boy, and it is really thin. We're basically going to do the same thing to this wreath. If I had angels, which that would be wonderful for your Christmas songs, I thought this would be real cute. But I don't have any angels, and I kind of looked on Etsy and stuff, and I didn't really see anything I liked that well. So I thought I'm just going to use what I've got. This is a good song, Count Your Blessings. There's several of them that you could pick. Something under there. So we're going to do the same thing with this napkin. I'm going to take my pen. What did I do? There it is. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to feather around this. And just kind of make me a circle. And you can do this with any napkin. Okay. Just about got it. I think that'll get it all the way around. So I just used the water pen. And now I'll just kind of take off some of this. You'll see when we're done with the plate, if you used your scissors and cut this straight, you would be able to see where you added the napkin. This just helps it blend in and feathers it really nicely. Okay.
And Travis says I love to use napkins and Mod Podge to create.
Yeah. I'm going to do some on some votive candle holders in a week or two. It would be a really nice gift. Okay, we're going to set that there because I believe we can come back to our plate. It's dry enough. All right, now what I'm going to do is take my glitter Mod Podge and cover the whole plate, being careful not to get any on the underside. So I'm kind of going to start and do my edges first.
Thank you, Miss Ann, for the sprinkle.
Yeah, I think Miss Ann has her name in our blessing thing several times. Which, Ed, why don't you do a screenshot? Let's get our list of names to start with.
Well,
just wait a second and do it again if you didn't get any names that time. You got to comment to get your name in the blessing bag, or share the video and I will go back and if Facebook tells me you did, your name will go in our blessing bag twice. And then I do go back and look at the replays and pick one person that says #replay that watches it on the replay.
Sandy and Miss Ann.
Okay. Sandy and Ann, your names are in the blessing bag. Will be tomorrow when I go back. Okay, I just kind of did the edges. You want to make sure you go all the way out to the edge. And then what I do is this will dry clear. I just take my fingers and like run along the edge, and so that if there's any on the edge, I wipe it off. But you want to go all the way to your edge. All right, now I'm gently going to put it over the top of that napkin.
And that's the glitter Mod Podge.
This is glitter Mod Podge. We are going to be using the regular Mod Podge too in a minute. This is one coat under the napkin, one coat on the napkin. You can do 2 coats if you want to. If you like a lot of glitter, and I probably will. You just want to be careful and not rip that napkin under there.
Miss Ann wants to know if you ever put pictures on a plate with Mod Podge.
I did years ago. I haven't lately, but I did several years ago. I made some for myself, I think, and I made my sister-in-law a plate with her first grandchild's picture on it. Okay, so now we're going to take the song that I printed off a copy, and we're going to put the same glitter Mod Podge right on our paper. And you cover the whole song. Now it will kind of make your paper curl because it's wet, but I'm going to show you how to get rid of that towards the end. Of course, that little thankful thing is not going to take up all this. So I have Mod Podge over all of it. I want to figure out, now it will go right side up. You want to be able to see through it. Put it anywhere on the song you want to. And then just kind of tap with a dry brush. You're kind of tapping it into that Mod Podge. And you can read the thankful a little bit better on the paper. All right, I'm going to set it right there to dry, and I'm going to show you. I did one, just some ideas of what you can do. This was actually a hymn out of the book itself. I didn't copy it, so you can tell it's kind of an off-white. And this is a cheap dollar frame from the Dollar Tree for $1. It already had the edging around it and everything. Now, had I written over thankful in black, I think it would have looked real pretty to bring this out, bring the black in the frame out. But you can keep it the size it is and put it in a frame, like a 5x7 is about what it would fit in. Or, for tonight, I am going to, y'all know I love using these panels. I am going to use one of these 8x10 panels. And I'm going to use, because my piece of paper is not that big, I'm going to use this scrapbook paper on it. So I'm going to put Mod Podge on this, and there's no reason to waste my glitter Mod Podge. This is dishwasher safe, but it's what I grabbed. So, I mean, it can be used. So I'm just going to put Mod Podge on my panel and make sure I get everywhere covered, because basically that's what I'm going to be putting the scrapbook paper on. You could always paint this canvas. There's a lot of projects you could do this way. The Christmas scrapbook paper. And use like Away in the Manger and find something pretty to put on it, or a pretty napkin. All right, sorry y'all, I have to turn it a certain direction so that I can make sure I've got Mod Podge all over it, because we have to let this dry. Then we're going to use the iron-on method for that scrapbook paper. And I probably should have lined out my scrapbook paper. I could be cutting it, but we'll just wait for this to dry. Let me make sure I have it all. I think I do. Okay, so I am going to put this right here for it to dry. And let's see. We're going to do another layer of Mod Podge on our plate. This one's still a little bit tacky, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of help. And y'all see why you have to do it in several layers. There's a layer or two when you get where you're painting it. You may want to wait overnight. Everything needs to be dry before you do the second layer. Oops. So what have y'all been up to this week? If you had pictures, this would be the glitter Mod Podge. I think I might have ordered it from Amazon, but you can get it at Hobby Lobby. Sometimes it's just easy. Hobby Lobby's about a 20-minute drive, which is, I mean, not that bad, but if I'm not headed into that city, sometimes it's just easier for me to get on Amazon. But I'm pretty sure you can order it on Amazon, but probably Michael's has it. It kind of has a silver glittery. It says extreme glitter. You wouldn't have to put 2 layers, but if you look at this plate, see how well you can see the glitter and the sparkle? It's 2 coats, and that's what I want. I want a lot of sparkle. Okay, I think that's pretty good. All right, I need to turn on my little iron. Oh, you're trying to show it close? It really turned out pretty. I mean, but you just have to hold it at a special angle to see the words. It was one of those crafts that just didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to.
Miss Ann says Bruton don't have a Hobby Lobby.
No, they don't, do they? But you can get it on Amazon. In fact, I don't even think Monroeville has the Hobby Lobby, do they, Ed?
No, not that I know of.
Or Michael's. You know, Walmart may carry it, though. Walmart, I know, carries regular Mod Podge. So you might look in Walmart. But if you do it on Amazon, just search for Extreme Glitter Mod Podge. Costs a little bit more than the regular Mod Podge, but it sure makes pretty things. What was that? Oh, my iron beeped it, telling me it was ready. All right, so this is my second coat. This will be the last that I use of the glitter.
She says she has to go to Foley.
Oh, yeah. But this is our last, this will be the last layer on the plate as far as the glitter Mod Podge. For some reason, then you have to put a layer of the other Mod Podge, and I'm going to put the dishwasher safe over the top of all this. It's got something to do with that napkin. The lady that I watched on YouTube didn't explain why. She's just like, trust me, you don't want to do anything else to that napkin until you've sealed it with regular Mod Podge. You know, this glitter Mod Podge says it's a sealant, so I don't know. But that's what the lady said, so I'm going to take her at her word. All right, so I'm going to put my fingers around it and make sure. Might feel a little rough, but that's okay. You can kind of sand the edges later if you want to. All right, I just have mine on a plate, on a bowl. So let me move it over here. Let's see if our board is dry, and it's not. It's still tacky. So let's dry it. I really don't like doing these things that you have to let stuff dry, that I can't do ahead of time, but that's just all part of crafting. And all I'm going to do with this is cover it with scrapbook paper. And I'll show you. You can actually put it in a frame too if you wanted to. I'm just going to like lean it up against something. But I can't iron my scrapbook paper on here until I get this dry. I've just found anything, a larger piece like this, it's just easier to do the iron-on method than to try to lay your paper on wet Mod Podge. Let me give that a little to help it too. Okay, one thing I can do is cut out my song while that's drying a little bit more, and I'm going to actually use, well, I probably should iron this too and get those wrinkles out. I can do that after I cut it. I'm talking to myself. Okay, I'm going to kind of draw a line of about where I want to cut the song, and then I will cut right inside the line. So I'm just going to put a, now if you use the regular hem page, just trim around the edges. That's actually got a line right there. All right. So I'm using pinking shears just because I think it gives it a little fancier look. It's a little bit different because the paper's a little bit wet, so I need to hold it up a little. My scissors, that's what you get. It's not going to be perfect because it's still wet right there. I probably could have feathered it. It just gives it a, these actually aren't pinking shears. I don't know if you can see, but it kind of makes a scallop. They're actually scissors from my scrapbooking days to cut scrapbook paper and stuff. But they're a little bit like pinking shears. Ed, you can go ahead and that stack right there. You can throw it away. All right, this is a little wet here too. No, because I can use the other wreath. I'm going to be doing a little more like drying tonight than I usually do, because there's certain things you can't do when the Mod Podge is wet. And right now this Mod Podge is sticky. Gonna go down the edge over here. Hope I can get it somewhat straight. I just think this would be so pretty with an angel napkin on it. Maybe not this song, but there's a lot of them to pick from. Okay, let's see if this, all right, that's dry. So,
Ann says it's going to be pretty with the scallop stage.
Yeah. I want my, I think I want my stripes to go across. So, and I want to be fairly close, because sometimes when you use your sanding block, which Ed, I knew they would be something. I thought I had everything in here, but y'all know, I always forget something. Forgot a sanding block. He wouldn't feel needed if I didn't have to send him after something. But anyway, when you use a sanding block on these canvas, sometimes it will rip the canvas a little on the edges. So I'm going to try to be fairly close. Thank you. So I'm actually cutting just a little outside the line, but not much. I thought this was pretty scrapbook paper. I don't even know what I got it in. It was out of a book, I think. Okay, make sure there's nothing on your canvas. I'm going to lay that on there. There it is. See, when you're doing a couple of projects and you got all this different stuff, you have trouble finding it. All right, I'm going to use my little Cricut iron that I ordered, and I love it. It's so much better than the other iron that was so big that I was using. This one has a longer cord. It has 3 temperatures. And I got it. Okay. I got it when Amazon had their Amazon sales. So I got it on sale too. That is one thing that you want to make sure you get your edges. That they're all... And if you're not familiar with this, what this does, it reheats and reactivates that Mod Podge that you have underneath there and sticks your paper or your napkin or whatever. All right, now that didn't stick on that end. That stuck, that stuck, that stuck. Maybe the corner and a little down here. I may turn it up 1 notch. Because scrapbook paper, I was using it on the first notch with, see, it gives you the little orange lights, but then when it's heated up and hot enough, it'll turn green here in a second. But I wasn't sure I had it hot enough to stick those spots. Scrapbook paper's a little thicker than a napkin.
Thank you, Miss Ann, for the sprinkle.
I love it that Ann has all these different groups that she can share to. So many groups don't let you do that. All right, we'll turn it back down because I'm going to be using it on that napkin here in a minute. Okay, let's see if that got it. No, it's still wanting to pull loose. You know what it could be?
You didn't get it.
Well, no, it could be that that dishwasher Mod Podge is not as good. I'm going to use some of my... And y'all know, in crafting, there's always a fix-it. There's always a way to redo it or to fix it. So I just added a little bit of that other Mod Podge on there. And we're going to let that sit for just a second. Meanwhile, this is how you get the wrinkles out of your paper. Now I don't want to use that because it's got Mod Podge right there. So I'm just going to kind of lay this down. And you iron it. I don't want to get the Mod. You just have to be careful because, you know, it's got Mod Podge on it. But I just want to iron those wrinkles out just a little bit.
Thank you, Miss Ann, for the start.
And that smooths your paper. Okay. So now see, mine's going to have a border on it like that. Okay? But check our plate. I am going to try to get off just a little bit of these edges, and if too much white shows, see, scrapbook paper is thicker than tissue paper or some of that other.
Miss Ann won't know if she was the only one watching. Now they, right now, 4 other people on it.
Yeah, sometimes people watch and don't say anything, and that's okay. I do that a lot on other people's pages too. But that just means, you know, Miss Ann, you may be the only one to have your name put in the blessing bag for this video. And a lot of people like to watch replays. It's gotten to the point that I stay so busy, there's very few people that I can catch on alive. All right, we're going to let that set for a minute. Let's get our plate back. Our next step is going to be putting the dishwasher safe Mod Podge over it. And I'm just going to give it a little. It feels a little cold right there. Like I said, this project takes several layers, and what I did with the other one, I just walked off and left it for 15-20 minutes and then came back and did some more. It's really no problem except when you're trying to finish something on live. Okay. All right, now I'm going to put a layer of this dishwasher safe Mod Podge all over it. I'm going to cover my napkin carefully, not pushing hard at all. And go down, even go down your edges. This does take longer to dry, so I may have to just show you on that other plate how to do the last step. Well, not really the last step, because once you're done with all the painting and the Mod Podge, I let it sit overnight, and then I gave it 3 coats of a sealer, which is why I said you can get the back wet. I wouldn't trust putting it down in water. I put 3 coats of my Rust-Oleum 2X matte sealer on the bottom, just to kind of seal everything in. I guess this just sets the glitter and stuff. I don't know. But that's what she said. She said regular Mod Podge, but this is okay. It's what I picked up. I'm almost out of my regular Mod Podge. Okay. I'll put it back over there and let it dry. Then we have to paint. Okay, so now let's get this one done. And you're just going to kind of eyeball it, just kind of to get it in the center. And then I'm going to take, you know what? I'm scared it was the dishwasher, but it ought to be all right with this.
I can find the regular Mod Podge. Where's it in?
It's in the top drawer of that thing right above my paint as you walk in the thing. And it doesn't have a blue label. I think the label's just white. Sorry, y'all. But I think I would rather use the regular Mod Podge that I know it sticks with paper really well. Does it just say Mod Podge? I don't want the one that says fabric, or I don't want the one that says dishwasher. Let's see what I had in there. I don't think, it's not that dark one. It'll be this one. Matte Mod Podge. Let me see, is that fabric or is that dishwasher? One coat finish, super gloss. Probably didn't know I had that. I guess maybe that's just a top coat. One coat gloss finish. I don't usually like to put Mod Podge on top of anything if it's a regular Mod Podge. Oh, good. Because to me, no matter what you do, it leaves streaks. But we're going to... We're going to do about half of this. Put it down and then do the other half. Let me go up. And then if I need to do the edges, I can do the edges. right. And do you see any more comments? You want to do another screenshot? Might just be Miss Ann, huh? I sure appreciate you, Miss Ann, for hanging in. You might actually get a surprise at the end. Okay.
I'm having the hardest time.
Sometimes it can be tricky to put paper on paper, and I don't want to rub that too hard. The one on the frame, I just put in the frame. I didn't attach it to anything. But we let this dry a few minutes. We can iron it after it's dry. I quit using the sander because it's like this paper super thick. I hope.
And Travis said, I said I wanted that bowl maker.
Okay, well, we've got Thursday and then next week 2 lives, right? Mm-hmm. Before the end of the month. You got a good shot, Miss Ann. Your name's in there a lot already. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. And I'll tell you, when you do it on a canvas, you can just buy a frame. I could paint this black or whatever, and then you just pop this in the back of that frame like this, and there you go. Now I need to iron the wrinkle out, and my scrapbook paper is a little wider. I need to cut it with my X-Acto knife, and then you could paint this frame black. I probably will just leave it where I can just prop it up on something. Okay, let's see. I don't want to use a yucky piece of parchment paper that has this. Just will help flatten it. Hopefully, and pull out any of that. But these would make really cute gifts, and the more that you do, the better you will get. And of course, if I was making this for a gift, I would have measured just to make sure. And you have to be careful when you lift it up that you don't pull it loose. I would have measured to make sure I had it exactly in the center. So after the live, I will go and see there's just a little tad here, but I didn't like the way it was putting a white. I could go around it with black, but I'm going to use my X-Acto knife and just cut off this little bit around the edges, which would make it fit in the frame easier. But anyway, that's kind of what that looks like. You can either put a bow on it, some beads, some sort of decoration, but you can actually read the word thankful better like this. Now, while that's finishing drying, the next thing we're going to do is put a coat of paint. See, right now you still see some white with the glitter because it's not totally dry. But we have not put anything here on the plate. So I'm going to give that a few more minutes, and I'm going to show you this other one right here that I did yesterday with a Christmas napkin, and I did the large plate. So this is the large plate. This is a larger napkin. I couldn't figure out how. I said, well, I could cut and just use the 3 snowmen on the smaller plate, but I like the wreath. But you see how much more the colors. So pick your napkin, something that has bright colors, unless you just like that really vague thankful on there. All right, so what I did, you want whatever the color your napkin is, that's the color paint you want to put on the back. Because see here, it just blended in and you don't see that napkin to where it stops and starts. So nothing is here. You could put cookies on this. You could eat off of it or whatever. But you're going to put a coat, I think this has 2 coats, of just plain white paint, if your napkin's white, chalk paint. Then let it dry in between coats and everything. Then take it and spray it, or either use, I probably could use this super gloss 1 coat gloss finish on here, and I may give it a swipe or 2, but I sprayed it 3 times with the 2X Rust-Oleum. And then you can either put these plates, you know, on an easel or something like that for decor.
Barbara Bennett says she's late. You have to watch the replay.
Okay, Barbara, that's good. Or you can see the little ones. It looks good too. And at a certain angle, you can read the thankful. And let me put the lid back. I'm not going to be using any more Mod Podge. So, would you put these in the sink, please? Let me close up my Mod Podge. And I will tell you, too, the easiest way to paint the back of these plates is to use either a pouncer brush or a makeup sponge, those little wedges that you buy, because then you don't have streak lines, and I'll show you. We'll get this dry, and I'll show you. But since that napkin was white, I'm using Waverly White. And what I do is I pour it in a plate. Couple keys to this. Like I said, the cling wrap is a big good thing because it doesn't let you tear your napkin, and it gets the napkin where you don't have bubbles on it. Okay, I'm not going to put a whole lot in that plate right now because I'm going to find an area that's good and dry. We're going to hit it with the heat gun again for a minute. And I'm going to show you how I did it, but I may just do a part of it and then really, because I don't want to mix my paint with wet Mod Podge. But you're going to see a big difference in how well the napkin just pops once you add the paint to this side. And that's what brings out the sparkles too, is the white background. I'm sorry, y'all. I hate rushing projects, but hopefully what I said made sense. You want to make sure your paint matches the part of your napkin. Did you do a screenshot a while ago or just said Miss Ann was the only one?
I did.
Okay. I think, I hope it's dry enough. Let me show you. This is what I'm talking about, just the little sponge. And then I'm going to dip it, just pounce it like in the paint. And then you're just going to pounce it on, not like streaks. I just take a little area at a time. And if you wanted to just do the middle of it, you could. I'll show you what it would look like. You would have sparkles on the outside and white on the inside. But you just want to pounce it on there. It gives it a little bit of a texture, but that's okay. You can, before you seal it, you can sand it just a little once it's really dry, like overnight dry. I would think the paint would be a pretty, well, it's chalk paint, so, you know, you get it wet. If you don't put any kind of sealer on it, you're going to wipe it off. Okay, let's see if you can tell a difference just by doing the middle. See? You can barely see that wrinkle in the center of it, but the red and the green really stands out.
Light makes them pop.
Yeah. All right, then I'm just going to go around, go to the edges, but don't get the front of your plate, and just wipe off as you do, because you might get a little just on the edge. And you can give it 2 coats of paint if you want to. First one pretty light, and then go back over with the second one. Just makes it brighter. And this is just regular Waverly chalk paint. And if you try to put a second coat on while this first coat is wet, you will pull up the first coat. So it's very important that you let it dry totally. Okay, Ann, appreciate it very much. Have a good night. Okay, so you've got to make sure that you go to the edge and that it dries completely before you add the second coat of paint, or you'll pull up your paint. And I'm just kind of dabbing it. Doesn't take a whole lot. It's going to give it kind of one light coat, and then I'll go back and put another coat on, and I'm going to make sure I don't have any on the edges, so there's nothing. All right, I have no idea where the red to the wreath is. There it is. So there's the after it's painted. See how I just made it pop? And once that is dry, you'll see all those silver sparkles. But I'm just going to leave it as it is and come back with a second coat in a little bit when it's, I probably will leave it till tomorrow. And then tomorrow do a second coat. And then that will be done. And then it will, you know, it'll be like this on the back. Almost looks like a crackle finish with that chalk paint on the back. And that's probably because, like, if you didn't make sure your Mod Podge was good and dry. You remember that's how we made crackle one time on wood. You put a paint down, which this is just clear kind of underneath it. But then you put Mod Podge on, and when it's tacky, not dry, then you put the paint over it, and it creates the crackles. So I'm sure that's probably what created those crackles, is that I got in a hurry and the Mod Podge wasn't totally dry. All right, well, that's it for tonight. Just a couple of projects, like I said, that you could take and make gifts with them. You can use any kind of napkin, but I would stick. This is what happens if you try to do something gold. You can't read it real easy, but the green and red and black and all will look real pretty. The snowmen were white, but it still turned out really pretty. And like I said, this would be a nice gift. Put cookies on it and give it as a gift. Or just put it on an easel and use it as decor. So we did that, and then we did this little, we took that other napkin and put it on a song. And then just put it on this, what did I say, 8x10 canvas. Thin canvas. You could stick it in a frame if you wanted to. I did just the size of a 5x7 picture frame from Dollar Tree and put the song. This song was "We Gather Together," so that's a good thing for Thanksgiving too. So that's it for tonight. Appreciate those of you that hung in there with me, and I will be back on Monday at 6 o'clock. We'll see you then. Bye bye.